It would have been much more lonely imagine what Claudia went through, for example.
Yes.
But there must have been times when you thought, I don't understand this place, this is really strange, I can't understand what they're saying or what they mean or stupid food they're eating.
No, well, I like Adelaide very
Yes.
much.
Yes.
I treat it as my second hometown now. And then I think the people are really honest, friendly, straightforward, and they just being nice to everyone.
But what surprised you?
Surprised me? Well, I think, for example, this time I brought my parents to Sydney and Melbourne
Yes.
because we are traveling.
Yes.
We met a lot of good people who gave us guiding and then offered free help and then treat us very nice, even they don't know us.
But did you struggle to understand what some Australians were saying initially? You know, when they said,
yes, the Australian accent. I was really struggling at the beginning, and because I was learning the British accent before, and then it took time to get used to the accent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can always say, oh, excuse me, would you speak a little slower? Or, you know, and then people do so, don't they?
Yes,
That
they did that.
But your English is exquisite, isn't it?
Thank you.
Yes. Anyway, back to the topics. I'm fascinated by these young women. Interracial marriage, would that concern your parents? You are the child of an interracial.
Yeah, it obviously doesn't concern my parents.
What about yours, Zhao?
My parents, they're Chinese, but my dad was born in Singapore and my mum was Malaysian Chinese.
Right.
So I guess in that instance, culture-wise, we're quite similar. And it's just that when I meet Malaysians and I try to express it, they feel that I'm one of them as well. I love that connection with more people.
Yes.
So yeah, that's.
But is there expectation that you marry a Chinese or Malaysian person, or no?
No, actually, I married my husband. He is actually Taiwanese.
Oh, I didn't know you were married.
Yes, and I've got 2 kids.
Have you?
Yes.
How old are they?
They are 1.5 and 3.5. Yeah.
Oh, well, they're a blessing.
Yes, they are. Thank you.
Excuse me. Someone's asking, on TV there's a Chinese dating show. It's a sort of blind date that's very popular with Chinese people. Is it on SBS, I think? Do you enjoy it?
I watch it a lot.
I haven't seen it.
What do you think, Jenny?
Well, I've been too busy concentrating on the street party recently. Haven't got time to watch it.
When is the street party? It's the 13th, isn't it, on Gunja Street, and it's a huge celebration of Asian culture here in Adelaide. The big street party, and 891, of course, is a partner in Chinese New Year, media partner, and we're thrilled to be involved. How could Australia be better represented in China, Jenny?
Well, as I know, last year the Premier of South Australia brought business delegation to Qingdao, Shandong, China, and then there were more than 200 people came from Adelaide in different industries, from like manufacture or food and education and things like that. And then they had very good conferences in Shandong, and they made a lot of corporations, signed a lot of contracts, so it built up long-term relationship. I think it's really good start for Adelaide and then the cities in China to have better relationship for a development in economy.
Penny and
like
Zhao, what do you think?
I think through, because of what I'm involved in through music, and with the past couple of years going to China with a grant from Arts SA, I've noticed like it's the direct bond, like through arts and culture and music, because it's an exchange, but also it bridges that culture and that diversity. We bring it across directly.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. It's perhaps not my area of expertise, but I think that in the arts it's great to see that recognition and that push towards connecting those two cultures of Australia and China.
I think the Oz Asia Festival's done a marvellous job with that.
Yeah.
Yes, and I love that acrobatic troupe from Shandong. I think it was called the Shandong Acrobatic Troupe. They were fantastic. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And that I think increases understanding, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
The arts. Yes.
With the Chinatown Lunar Street Party, it's
And
also
food.
Yes, absolutely.
Food.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'd forgotten about the street party. Do you like the hot weather or the cold weather? Where you're from in China, Jenny?
I came from Dalian. It's a northeast city, and it's a coastal city, but it has 4 seasons. In the winter, it's really cold. It has snows. But when I came to Adelaide, the weather is really hot.
Yes.
Like now in summer, like maybe 40 degrees.
Do you get that cold wind off the go-by, the desert, they get in
But
Beijing?
I reckon Dalian is not really a very cold city. But if I have to compare, I think hot weather will be alright for me because we can have much more events held outdoor.
Yes. And you, Penny, you've worked in all climates.
Yeah, I think the coldest I've been was probably when I was in Japan, and I would go to breakdancing training sessions that would happen in one of the train stations, and that was quite biting. But then again, when I was in the Philippines, it was so humid that my shins were sweating by the time we're getting ready to start warm up. So
Sweaty shins.
I know.
I want you to demonstrate the wacko, or what's it called?
Whacking.
Whacking. And something else I don't understand. What was the other one? The hip-hop one.
The hip hop.
What music would you need to whack?
Whacking is done to disco music predominantly.
Disco,
That was.
And what's the other
I
one?
once had a teacher who put it in very plain terms, and it's stayed with me to this day. And he's actually an amazing popper, and he's also an amazing locker. A guy called Sugar Pop, and
What's locking?
locking is another funk style that came out of the 70s, and it grew out of some social dances, party dances, but no, what he had to say about it is that music created the feeling and the feeling created the dance. So I think when we're talking about sort of cultural interaction, there's that bridge there. But whacking is done to disco music and hip hop is done to hip hop music.
Do you have a sweet tooth, ladies? Penny, do you have a sweet tooth?
I don't. As a professional dancer, I'm married to my craft, so I'm not attracted to it, luckily.
Zhao, sweet tooth?
Unfortunately, like everyone in my family is not exactly like a sweet tooth. Like if someone gives me a cake, it goes into the fridge and it stays in there.
Really?
It doesn't really come out of the fridge anymore.
That's very disciplined. And you, Jenny, a sweet tooth?
Oh, well, I like desserts and ice cream because I think sweet stuff can make me happy.
Yes.
And then I also learned how to make the dessert. And then, yeah,
Do you all
enjoy.
cook? You all cook?
Oh, yes,
Yes.
of course. Because when I first came here alone, I never lived in homestay. I lived by myself, and then I was cooking for myself, but bought groceries, and then so I've been cooking for almost 7 years.
Were you in student accommodation?
Yes.
Yes. And so you're cooking for yourself? Yeah. Do you cook for your friends now?
Of course, I cook for my
Yeah.
friends and my students, my high school students.
Oh.
Yeah, in Penang. Yeah, they love it.
Travelling, where would you like to travel? Zhao?
I would like to travel so much, but I've got...
Your 2 children.
Yes, exactly. I have to take that one along with me. But I was lucky, like in the past couple of years, I've been doing China much more than where I was born, Singapore.
Yes,
I guess because of what I've been doing.
yes.
But during my honeymoon, I was lucky to go to Europe, like Italy. That's like where all the arts, the European arts come from. I guess like Italy, and and that really opened my eyes up. I think it's really allowed me to incorporate it into my creativity.
Would you look at the synergies between your traditional instrument, which we're going to hear shortly, this harp, and perhaps the didgeridoo or other traditional European? Is that possible?
Yes, it's possible. Actually, for one of the Austrasia years, the two that unfortunately rained out in 2013 and 13
yes.
and 14,
Yes.
we were going to work with the Young Adelaide Voices.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, like we had some gujangs, this Chinese instrument, and a string quartet, and we were going to back the Young Adelaide Voices, and we were going to do I'm Australian, and part of us we were mimicking the didgeridoo, so that was quite an attempt, but we never quite got the chance to perform it, so it's a pity.
Where would you like to travel? You've travelled a lot dancing, Penelope. Where would you like to go?
I've been really fortunate because I've done a lot of travelling dancing, and then also when I was younger, every time my parents had a medical conference, then we sort of got to hop on the plane and go with them, because probably my grandmother said she wasn't going to babysit. But I think I'm really keen to get a grant to get myself to Europe, to Brussels, to do a mentorship with a choreographer over there. He was actually the assistant choreographer on Michael Jackson's This Is It tour, and I think that he's also got the contemporary side of the arts, so looking at doing a grant to help me bring those two halves of my arts together. But I think if I were just going on holiday, I'd love to go to South America.
Why was yes, you must. Why was Michael Jackson so good?
I think that he has soul. He's not a performer in the sense that he's necessarily putting something on. I think that all performers have to have that skill as well, but you have to feel it. You have to feel it, because that will move you to do your best job, and you have to have integrity. And he worked with great producers and choreographers and teachers, and I think when you bring all those together, I think that it's just, it's hard to go wrong. And I think also
hard work dance.
Hard work, yes.
Or the prosecution of any art is hard. You all know that.
Yes, but we enjoy it.
Yes, of course. And where would you like to travel, Jenny?
Well, I think Australia is a really beautiful place to travel, and then there are like beautiful landscapes and architecture, and I love the culture here. I brought my parents to Sydney Opera House to watch the Magic Flute, a great opera by Mozart.
Yes,
We
it is
really
a beautiful
enjoy it.
opera.
Yes, and we also went to the National Gallery of Victoria, Art Gallery of New South Wales.
Yes.
We love art galleries because my mom is a traditional Chinese artist.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and then we also took the ferry to Manly in Sydney.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
so we
that's
had a great time.
Favourite movies? What's your favourite movie, Jenny?
Well, I think my favorite movie is a Chinese movie because it involves more Chinese culture, especially martial arts, and I think it can encourage people when it also has a soul, and then also the martial arts will be performed on street party.
Penny, your favourite music? Movie?
Oh, no, I don't think I have an answer for you on that one, I'm sorry.
Zhao?
One of my favorite movies, I think it's that Crouching Tiger, Hidden
Oh,
Dragon.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I love that one. I think what started me is the soundtrack to it. It was really good.